Personal finance dad watched one of my videos? What? Welcome back, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I wanted to do this video on some of my HGA sales. But before that, I just wanted to acknowledge that the personal finance dad, Dustin, if you haven't seen his channel, and he's one of the more widely known YouTube content creators for sports cards, so most of you probably have, but he actually acknowledged that he watched one of my videos today. So I was pretty excited about that. I was on their live stream, their off-centered that they do every Wednesday night. And so anyway, the fact that I got a shout out that he actually watched one of my videos, I was pretty stoked about that. And I was going to do this video anyway, but I was like, I definitely have to do a video now that I know one of the bigger YouTube content creators has actually watched one of my videos. I was pretty excited. Before that though, I wanted to comment on another video that I watched, and that was Jeff Wilson's Are Base Cards Dead? I believe that was the title of the video. And I have to say I was mildly disappointed with the answer to that question, because I was really hoping that he would get more into the statistics and maybe talk about should we really not be buying base cards at all? Are we going to continue to see a plummet in their prices, or is this a good buy low opportunity for some of these base cards? And I don't really feel that he answered that question or really got to a kind of the meat of the topic. That's just my take on it. He did go over, beware of some of the parallels and some of the serial numbered cards. They may not be as rare as you might think. And that I definitely agree with. And that's something that I've thought about in terms of where I'm buying, what types of cards that I'm buying, and whether I think the value is kind of still a little bit too high and possibly could experience a downfall. So he did kind of touch on certain topics, and he also discussed the pop count, which we're seeing an increase in base card pop count. And I believe that that's really coming down to just basic economics of supply and demand, where a lot of PSA graded cards are coming back on the market. So we're starting to see a decrease in a lot of base card prices, which those were the cards that were graded. So that's why there's so many on the market now. An example of that is Trae Young. Trae Young has 10,000 Prism base PSA 10s. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if there are 5,000 more on the way. So with that said, I kind of want to answer that video myself. Do I think base cards are dead? No, I really don't. And I did an earlier video on that. I mean, to say that they're dead, meaning they're not good investments, they're not good long-term investments, I would not agree with that. I would say if you're a believer in Trae Young, if you think the Hawks are going to win an NBA championship at some point in the next few years, and Trae Young is going to be the leader of that team, I would say a Prism base PSA 10 is a good investment. Now, the question is what price point? And so that's really what it comes down to. And like I said, I could easily see another few thousand PSA 10s coming back on the market, and that could potentially drive the price of his card down even further. Currently, I saw a sale go on eBay for $175, which is really, when you think about it, not even last year, at the beginning of this year, the Trae Young PSA 10 was going for $800. And there was a video put out by Neo talking about how it was on its way to $1,000. It was one of the hottest cards in the market. Again, this was just his base Prism, and there were a lot of them out there then too. So keep that in mind. It's not like there were only 334 on the market, and that's why the price was artificially high. There were thousands and thousands on the market in January as well. There was plenty. Anyone who wanted to get a Trae Young base Prism could get one, and they were going for that amount of money because of the demand at the time. So do I think that that particular card could be a good investment? Absolutely. Yeah. If it were to get down to $100 for a PSA 10, I'd buy a couple. I'm not saying I'd buy 100. And I think that's the other thing too. I think when I got back into it and I started to watch Jeff Wilson's videos, I thought that these really kind of could trade like stocks. Like I could buy a block of 50 Trae Youngs at $100, and 5 years from now, those could appreciate to $1,000 each. And unfortunately, we're not seeing that trend right now. What we're seeing is that there's kind of this hate toward base cards, or collectors looking at those as kind of boring investments, really not the best investments, and probably something that won't hold value long term. But the only thing about that is there are only so many autographed one-of-ones or golds numbered to 10 or reds numbered to 5 or whatever parallels you want to talk about in terms of the rare cards. There are only so many of those. So when more people get into the hobby, they're going to want a Trae Young. And the only Trae Youngs that are going to be available are the widely available base cards. And that will be the demand that drives the price up. So that's just my 2 cents on that. I just kind of wanted to comment on that Jeff Wilson video. And also just acknowledge that Personal Finance Dad, if you have not seen his channel, please check that out. He puts out content almost every day, and it's good stuff. He goes over a lot of different things. Sometimes he gets into graded video games and all kinds of stuff more than just sports cards. So it's pretty, pretty insightful to watch some of those videos. So what I wanted to get into today is my HGA sales, and I just kind of wanted to take you through the process. So what I've done is I've done videos on the raw cards that I've submitted to HGA. I've done videos on the graded cards that I've received back, and now we put them on the market and we want to see what they go for. And some of these cards that I sold, I just sold them because either I was probably hoping for an HGA 9.5 and I didn't get it, so I just want to sell it and get really whatever I can for it. Plus I want to get an idea of what HGA cards sell for on the market, because there aren't a lot of comps. There aren't a lot of HGA cards on the market, period. There's been a lot of, negative media attention toward HGA as a whole. So that I believe that probably drove potentially cards that could have sold for more probably didn't do as well as I thought. And that happened in between the time that I sent them off for grading, got them back, put them on eBay, and that's just how it goes. So let's get into some of the cards. Let's see how I did. And kind of, I guess, really, you could determine for yourself, was it worth it for me to go through all this effort, grading with HGA, getting them back, putting them on eBay? At the end of the day, was the profit worth it? Keep in mind, too, that a lot of cards that I did get back that were graded 9.5 or maybe even had some sub 10 grades, I still have those. I'm not ready to move them yet because I just don't think it's a good time right now for whatever reason. An example would be Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs is a really good wide receiver, and for whatever reason, the Bills offense just can't seem to get going, and neither can he. So I'm going to hold out. I believe they're going to be in the playoffs. It's going to just take 1 or 2 big playoff games, and his card could spike. So that's kind of the reason why I wouldn't sell some of my higher, cards that graded 9.5. But if they graded a 9.0, I don't mind getting rid of them now for whatever the market is willing to pay. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those. So the first card, and it's actually 3-in-1, I graded 3 LaMelo Ball Donruss base cards. The first one you'll see here, I actually had to show a loss of $17.24. So paid $15 for the card. I'm just using $15 because these cards were pulled out of packs. So that was kind of the market value of the card at the time. I paid $20 to get it graded. eBay fees when you sell it, the eBay fees were $2.75. And at the end of the day, I lost $17.24 on one of the LaMelo balls, which sold on November 8th. So I probably should have done these in order. I sold another one earlier. I sold that one on October 4th and actually got $45 for that one. So did a little better, and the profit on that was $4.15 after grading and eBay fees. And then the third LaMelo ball, this was pretty close to break even. Got $36 on auction for this, and these were all auctioned off. And after eBay fees and grading fees, lost $3.68. So that's how the LaMelo balls did. Not too exciting. Didn't get any 9.5s, obviously didn't get a 10, and just sold them off, got my money back. Now, the next card I want to show you here is Jordan Love. Now, if any of you watched my Jordan Love video, you'll see that I had auctioned off 5 Jordan Loves right before the game, and as it turned out, that was a good idea because he did not do very well at all. And I don't want to get into my thoughts on that. I mean, obviously, he did not have a great game, but I did see some signs of hope. I don't think that he's a terrible player or a terrible quarterback. I think he had a bad game, and it was his first NFL game, and I think that, I think he'll get another chance to have at least a second game. So for whatever that's worth. But in any case, I was able to auction off these 5 cards. This was as a holo, and it also got an HGA 9.0, auctioned off for $57. And after grading and fees, made a profit of $8.50. So again, very close to break even. Going to switch it up here. This was a card that I pulled out of a pack. This was a Penny Hardaway Coast to Coast Refractor. Beautiful card. It looked amazing in person. And honestly, I kind of hated to let it go, but I wanted to see, I mean, some of these cards and some of the cards that we got graded, we were intending to sell. And so as much as I wanted to hold it, I kind of had to see what I can get for it. And the only way to really know is to auction it off. I had it on eBay for $99, buy it now or best offer, and nobody really seemed to care to even make an offer. So I said, let's just put it on auction for $9.99, no reserve. By the way, a lot of my auctions are going to be $9.99 or even 99 cents, no reserve. So just to let you guys know, if you're ever looking for some of the cards that I'm putting on auction, I do like to auction them off low and let it ride. So this one auctioned off for $63 after fees, all the fees, made a profit of $33.80. So it was a nice little return, and that's what it was. It was an HGA 9.5. That was another reason I really hated to let it go. We got this Freddie Freeman Topps Chrome Refractor. Now, I thought we sold this at the right time, but I don't know. I may have sold it a day too soon. Actually had the auction end on I believe it was Sunday night. It was game 5. I thought the Braves would clinch game 5. So I was like, oh, this is a perfect ending for this card. But as it turned out, it sold for $143.50. And the reason I was a little disappointed with that is a PSA 9 of this card sold for $297. So this one sold for about half of the PSA 9. Usually HGA 9s don't go that much lower than a PSA 9. So that's just how it goes when you put a card on auction. The profit on this was still $54.75. My brother did a pretty good job buying these Freddie Freemans. He bought 3 of them for $50 each. And this one got a 9. We have another 9, and we have a 9.5 with 10 centering. So pretty excited about that. And that's one where we want to sell the other 9 and then hang on to that 9.5. And basically, it's free. If these 2 9s pay for all 3 of those raw cards, then we have an HGA 9.5 that we basically have no money in, and that's kind of what we want to do ultimately with these cards. The next card I have here is Carlos Correa sold. This was a nice card too, graded in HGA 9.0 with 2 9.5 subgrades, sold for $210. That was a best offer accepted. And I will say this, people do make offers on HGA cards. So there is a little action on there. People are excited about it. They seem to like the slabs. They seem to trust the grading. And so you're getting real offers for these cards. Not a lot, obviously not as much as PSA, but there is activity. This card, $52.70 profit after fees, paid $95 for the card raw. And another Jordan Love, this was a neon green, paid, not very much for this card, but as it turned out, it only auctioned for $39, so we lost $7. Next card is Jordan Love Red, White, and Blue. This one was pretty disappointing. HGA 9.0, and maybe because the edges were an 8.5, that could have really kind of made it not an exciting 9.0. I'm not really sure why it didn't do very well in auction, but only auctioned for $33, and at the end of the day, we ended up losing $41.29 on the card. So that was a decent loss there. Also got the rookie blue Jordan Love Optic and made a pretty much break even. Profit there was $3.37. It auctioned for $51. And then let's move on to the next card. Oh, Jason Tatum, Red, White, and Blue. So this is one of those cards where, unfortunately, it got an 8.5. I believe we were hoping for at least a 9.0. I could, see the centering is off. But the centering got an 8.5. So if the other subgrades had scored, 9.5s or maybe possibly a 10, then it could have offset and we could have had a 9.5 or even a 9.0. But unfortunately, it got an 8.5. Once you get a grade that low with HGA, you're pretty much hoping to just get the price of your raw card back. And that's essentially what we did. We paid $125 for this card raw, bought it high too. We bought it at kind of the peak of the market. So that's another factor to consider. and only sold for $122.50 and ended up being a $38.50 loss. So that's how it goes. Can't win them all. I had another Carlos Correa, Bowman Sterling. This one we sold again during the playoffs, during the World Series. Thought it was a good time to sell, but it only sold for $38. It's an autographed rookie card. So I think somebody really made out getting an auto rookie Carlos Correa. He's a free agent this year. So in my opinion, they got a steal. If I could do it all over again, I would not have sold this card for $38. But that's what happens when you put it on auction, and it was a loss of $9.50. This card, Sam Darnold Hollow. This was a win at the time. I thought we could have gotten a little more, but I'm glad we sold when we did. Paid $30 for this raw after fees. We were able to make a profit of $81.50. Sold it for $152.50. This was a true gem. Very nice card. Sold for about half of a PSA 10. At the time, the PSA 10 sold for $300. This was when the Panthers started out 3-0. Probably waited 1 week too long to sell the Darnold. And I think we probably could have even gotten more money if we had sold right after that 3-0 start, which I really wanted to, but again, we just kind of mistimed it. And that's how these windows are. Sometimes they close quick. And, I didn't know Darnold was going to have the season he's having, a really not that great of a season. But usually when a player starts out hot like that, it's an opportunity to sell, and I'm willing to take it if I'm not really a fan of the team or the player. Got rid of this Michael Porter Jr., another player who doesn't seem to be having a great season, and the card only auctioned for $27. So that turned out to be a $16.50 loss. Bought the card at the peak also, paid $40 for the card raw, and that's just how it goes. And finally, the last sale we have here is a Jason Tatum Optic Shock. Very nice card. Bought this off a friend of mine. He got it in a Raz, and it got an HGA 9.5 with 110 subgrade. It was a very nice card. And I think we did well. We got $210, best offer accepted before the start of, maybe a couple months before the start of the basketball season. As everyone who's been watching the NBA knows, Tatum, he was off to a slow start, but they're turning it around. And I think people were overreacting to the Celtics' slow start. I mean, they still have Tatum, they still have Jaylen Brown. It looks like they still have a good team. They just beat the Raptors. I know it's just the Raptors, but it seems like they beat them pretty easily, and it seems like they're starting to find their swagger on the court. So got this Tatum turned out to be an $87.70 profit. So that was a nice profit. So at the end of the day, when we total all this up, this was a profit of $210 for all of the HGA sales that we have so far. And, the Tatum and the Sam Darnold and the Freddie Freeman, those sales were meant for, let's sell them while they're hot and see how high an auction can go. But a lot of the other sales were just put them back. Let's basically put them back in the market, get whatever we can back, and get the cash back. And so with all these sales, we're able to get pretty much $1,100 cash. So buy more cards just to either invest in other cards or buy other cards that we want to collect or whatever we want to do, but we just need to have some liquid cash. So that really helped out, but we still profited overall $210. So I thought it was to sell all these cards that I just went through in this video. And we still have some cards that we're hanging on to that we're looking, either we're going to hold long term or sell them when the opportunity presents itself. So that's kind of how this is going. So far, I like what I'm seeing from HGA. And as I stated earlier, some of these cards were bought at the more of a peak of the market, and there's been some kind of negative publicity toward HGA, but I feel like that's starting to die down a little bit. I'm not seeing a lot of videos talking about shortcomings and some of the pitfalls that HGA has had to go through lately. So that's probably a good sign. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thanks again for watching. This video was a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be, but I appreciate you guys hanging in there. And please subscribe if you have not subscribed. And thanks again. If Personal Finance Dad, Dustin, if you've watched this video, thanks for watching this one. I was pretty excited about that. So anyway, but thanks to everyone, watches my channel and has subscribed, and definitely those of you that leave a comment. I really appreciate it, and definitely gives me some video ideas. And I have one already for my next video that I got from a comment. So I want to go, I wanted to kind of like bring that up, that I appreciate the comments because they do give me ideas for the video. So thanks again, everyone, and I will see you on the next one.